The town of Oyster Bay continues to thrive despite these tough economic times. We'll sit down with Councilman Coschignano to learn of some of their most recent successes next on Cablevision's Meet the Leaders. Welcome to Cablevision's Meet the Leaders, a program designed to inform and update you about your community and issues right here on Long Island. With us today is Town of Oyster Bay Councilman Coschignano. Councilman, it's good to have you back on Meet the Leaders.
It's great to be with you again, Pat.
It's been a while since you've been on.
Yes.
And you're running for are you going to run for re-election this year? You've served 2 terms.
Yes, I will be running for re-election this year, God willing, and I've been lucky enough to serve the residents for the past 8 years.
Well, as you think back on your 8 years as a member of the Oyster Bay Town Board, there's always a learning curve for any new job. What are some of the highlights, some of the milestones for you as you look back and think about it?
I guess the great accomplishments have been the budget items, which we've held the line so well with our budget.
We're going to talk about that.
And we will, and it's been a great success. But also the ability to provide essential services to the residents while also preserving a great deal of open space. And of course our beautiful parks and our beautiful beaches. Oyster Bay, I think, is one of the jewels in Nassau County.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all. And you happen to represent, well, you represent the entire town, but you live in the northern part of the town. And those are some of the areas where you have a lot of open space that have been threatened with development.
Yes. And
trying to strike that right balance is not an easy task.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's all about balance. Of course, you always need a certain amount of development. That keeps the economy moving, keep the building trades going, and everybody moving in the right direction.
Well, and also people own their private property, so there are limits to what government can and can't do.
Yeah, and as a real estate attorney, I recognize that very much, that people have property rights, and there's only so much you can and cannot tell them. And you can't prohibit everything, but you have to strike that proper balance. And I think we've done that in the town of Oyster Bay. We're proud of our record. We have a great town supervisor in John Venditto, and he's been a steady leader for the town.
You know, as you think about these tough economic times, in every municipality, every state for that matter, and the federal government is really struggling under this deep recession.
Absolutely. Tough times.
They are tough times, and they're tough times even here on Long Island. Your town, like most towns, we get a lot of money from mortgage recording taxes.
Absolutely.
Obviously, as somebody who's a real estate practitioner, you know that the real estate market has changed dramatically over the last year and a half.
Absolutely. Last year we suffered a $6 million shortfall in the mortgage tax, and on our $200 million budget, that's approximately 3% of our budget. So we were fortunate enough to tighten our belts, and I think we made the right moves. We kept the budget in check. And we move on, and we're lucky enough to have, due to our hard work, a AAA bond rating by Standard & Poor's, and it's a great achievement. The federal government is in shambles.
Sure.
The state government's having a very rough time. Nassau County continues to have a tough time, and we at the town of Oyster Bay, while we can't celebrate great economic times because our residents are feeling the crunch, we all are, we have to be cognizant of the fact that we've basically held the line. We are 11 cents to 12 cents on the tax dollar. And over the last 12 years, I've tried to figure out how we've done so well with those 11 to 12 cents. We collect the entire tax bill that people pay, but we only maintain and keep for our town government 11 to 12 cents, and the rest goes out to other levels of government.
Well, you know, your town, like a lot of towns, benefited from the real estate market. It came in the form of permit fees and revenues from building and all that. But then it also comes from those mortgage recording taxes. Yes. Now, did you set money aside? Because the temptation is to spend all of that revenue in any given year, figuring out, well, we'll get at least that much next year.
Well,
so did you have rainy day funds and put money in reserves? And then budget very conservatively?
As you know, nowadays you can't maintain surpluses that they did years ago in budgeting, but we were fortunate enough to be able to move money around and we had to shift funds during the year to account for the shortfall in the mortgage recording tax. What we've also seen lately is a good move in our building department to accelerate applications, and I think that's a key. A lot of applications had been bogged down in prior years, and through no fault of any one person. But the new procedure at the town is to review it quickly, to get the building permit out to whoever is doing, hopefully, the proper type of development,
right.
And then you get the fees in that way, and you get them in quicker. And people seem to be paying them a little more happily if their application's moving a little faster.
Well, you're right. I mean, so you're becoming more customer oriented as you work through these issues. But let me ask about some of the beautiful natural resources. You know, as people think about what am I going to do this summer or on a vacation, I tell people all the time, look, if you're going to live on Long Island, you got to take advantage of everything we have to offer.
Absolutely.
In the summer. It's all right here in our backyard.
We have so much. We're lucky, so many natural resources. We have approximately 900 acres of parks in the town of Oyster Bay. We have 8 wonderful beaches. We have an amazing golf course that we're so proud of. This year, the skating rink the indoor skating rink in Bethpage became a reality. But people sometimes are taking advantage of what is called a staycation, where they're staying on Long Island, which is a great thing for the Long Island economy, hopefully. But we want to encourage that right here in the town of Oyster Bay.
Well,
there's an old saying, live, work, and play in the town of Oyster Bay, so we want to make that a reality.
And like you say, you're one of the only towns that actually goes from the North Shore to the South Shore.
Shore to shore.
Brookhaven is another one,
Yes.
and I think Oyster Bay is the only.
I think the only other one.
The only other one in Nassau County, of course.
And we have such great resources on both shores, on the North Shore and the South Shore, and all the great stuff in the middle.
Well, let's talk about one of the parks in the community that you're from, Syosset. Tell us about the Syosset Park and why it's so special.
I'm so proud of Syosset Woodbury Park, not only because I grew up there and I played there as a child and spend so much time visiting youth groups and sports leagues now, but 2 years ago it was voted in an independent survey one of, I think it was the first out of all the parks in New York State, and I think John Burns Park in Massapequa was ranked second. But a little friendly competition between the North and the South Shore, but to see Syosset Community Park ranked the top park in New York State by an independent agency was an incredibly proud moment, because we spend a lot of time and resources on our parks and our beaches.
And when you invest taxpayers' money, you're really happy to see these parks being utilized to their max, because that's the whole idea. Take advantage of this.
Absolutely, and we provide a lot of services, not only playing fields and